Hey, this is Alex from MIDIsequencing.com, and we're looking at making realistic sounding drums today. So I've got the MIDI part pulled up down here, and I'm going to play the track it went to, and you can watch the part as the track plays. All right, so a couple things to notice about this drum part. You'll see there are a lot of different velocities going on. And then if we zoom in pretty close to the notes, you'll notice that things don't sit exactly on the grid. We're a little bit ahead here. We're getting closer on the grid. This one's right on the grid. So you see things are close, but not exactly there. And this is the most important part to getting a realistic sounding drum groove, because real drummers don't play right on the grid. And then you'll also notice there's a lot of different stuff going on with the hi-hats, a lot of details and crashes and whatnot. And if you really listen to drum parts closely and you're not a drummer, there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. So to program these parts, what I really recommend you do is you play them in with your keyboard or drum pads, whatever you got. So if you can't just play them, try practicing to learn as much as you can. But right now you can just start by doing piece by piece, just the kick drum or the kick and snare, and then add your cymbals. So I'm going to play in this part, and then we're going to build it up, quantize it, make sure everything is good and kosher, and create a rock drum beat here. Okay, so if we look at the part, you'll notice that I am rushing quite a bit for a lot of these notes. So after I sequence something in, because I rush a lot, I can't help it. What I'll do is, if the stuff is pretty far off the grid, like this whole section here, you can grab all the notes at once and then find the note that is closest to the grid, which would be this one right here, and drag it onto the grid. What this does is it keeps the relationship between all of these notes the same, so it still has the human feel to it, but it's more in time. And this is great sequencing practice for anything that you want to sound more human. And then there might be random notes that I got, that are just way too far. Drag them onto the grid. And then once you've done that, if things are pretty far off, get this here too. Then you want to quantize. And the big thing about quantizing is choosing your quantization percentage correctly. A lot of people have different theories on this. Main thing is just use your ear. You could really use anywhere from 0 to 100%. So 100% for a realistic sounding part is obviously not what we want, but even for realistic sounding parts, you could get into the 90s. So just use your ear, all right? So this is pretty close here, so I'm going to go, I don't know, let's go 85%. Really tight. Actually, I don't like that. Too tight. Let's go 75%. 72%. You see, like I'm just kind of playing with it. And this is a great feature of Logic. It's non-destructive quantization. Other DAWs work differently, so just be aware of how quantization works in your DAW. Alright, that feels fine to me. I like that. So then what I'm going to do is add some hi-hats. So I'm just going to add eighth note hi-hats to start with. Alright, so I flubbed up some stuff in there, missed a note. Just add it in real quick, not worry about it too much. This one is much too quiet behind the beat. Turn that up a bit. And I might move some of this stuff closer to the grid. Alright, and that seems fine. I'm going to quantize that there. Turn down the percentage. Let's go 86. Why not? Cool, so that sounds alright. Now, what I would do next is probably join these guys up and then add some details. So maybe start off with a crash. See how I like that. And then maybe open the hi-hat on the and of 4. And on an open hi-hat, why not? So this is a decent sounding rock drum part that is not exactly on the grid. It is more or less human sounding. You can see it's barely off there, a little bit ahead. So this is pretty tight, but we still have a little bit of variety. And this is how you can build up your parts in general, record them in. Just play with your quantization percentages, practice playing drums. If you want to learn how to play on your keyboard, playing along to Back in Black is a great way to start. If you like AC/DC, it'll be really fun. Now let's take a look at inside of Addictive Drums real quick so you can see where the sounds are coming from. Having a drum program like Addictive Drums or BFD or Easy Drummer, stuff like that, is really great because it gives you the options of the sample rather than just getting a hi-hat sample and a kick sample. On our hi-hat here, we've got not only like a foot, but we've got it as it's opening up. You can play on the bell, play open on the bell, and these little details really what will make your part sound real. Drummers do a lot of details on the hi-hats especially that you got to take note of and just listen for and try and get in your sequencing. And the snare, you know, this is a different sample than that is. And then you've also got your rim shots and cross sticks all in the same snare. So this is what allows you to build up these parts. And then you can also, there's a lot of good internal mixing options and such we can look at in another video. So thank you so much for watching. Come by on MIDIsequencing.com if you got any comments or questions or anything you want to learn. Please let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.